I don't know if do you know a guy named Mike Gruely? Okay, so I had him on the podcast. He basically does leadership coaching for companies, but like a big, like 5,000 man companies. Yeah. And one of the things that he talked about was when you're a leader, one of the things that is really helpful is if you can, where a lot of leaders fail is they're not clear on the goal. They don't actually share where is the end goal, or they don't even really share what it means to be on the bus. So like, then you go to your employee, well, you're not even on the bus. Well, you never actually told them what it even meant to be on the bus to begin with. Right. And so I think that's a really good lesson of when you have open communication with your staff, they know the expectations. And you can't get mad at them if they don't know the expectations. But that's a good reminder for all the leaders out there. If you have people working under you, if you have people working with you, make sure the goals are clear. Make sure that I've been working on that too with my agency, but it's like, and then if they don't reach those goals, well, it doesn't look like you're a fit for the company. Right. But those goals have been very clear from the beginning.
Yeah, well, like very, very clear about like, hey, look, if you've got an idea about something, talk to me about it. I'm more than willing to listen to what you have to say because the more input I have coming in from different directions, the better it's going to be. Ultimately, if I think it's going to be bad for the business, then I need you to respect me as a business owner, right? And I'm also
This is when it forces you to be that extrovert, Lindsey.
I hate it.
This is when it forces you to, do you know the bird personality types?
No.
Like psychology of sales. So there's like eagle, owl, dove, and parrot. So eagle is like dominant type A personality. That's not you. I think you're a dove / maybe owl. But so I'll go through. A dove is one that just loves people, loves the staff. They care deeply. They're moved by empathy kind of people. A parrot is just loves to party, loves to talk, loves to have a party. And an owl,
not me.
an owl is very detail driven. So they like details. They like numbers. They like knowing facts, stats, things like that.
Yep, I'm between the two.
Yeah, so you're a dove owl. And the reason I know that is like sales psychology. If I can in 5 seconds know what bird I'm talking to, I can then tailor a conversation to. That's why it's important. Right. But doves struggle with trying to be an eagle.
Oh.
Because they're not eagles.
Yeah.
But you have to be an eagle to be a business owner.
Every
at some
times. You have
to fire somebody.
Yep.
You have to have an uncomfortable conversation.
That is the hardest part. Honest to God. That's the hardest part. Because I don't want to crush somebody's day.
You're a dove.
I don't want to crush. Yeah. I don't. But
can you believe, Lindsey, there are people that don't even care about crushing somebody's day?
I believe that. I've encountered those people. I've been crushed by those people.
I know those people.
I have been crushed by those people. Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's people like us. It's funny, when I started, I was a dove. And then my eagle has kind of killed my dove. I'm still a dove. But I think when you get burned, you only can get burned so many times by staff.
Yeah.
To then where...
It's getting easier, actually. It's getting easier. I still don't enjoy it.
No.
And compartmentalize it a little bit better.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I've had to fire people for lots of different reasons.
Yeah. And it sucks. It always sucks. But there is a level to where you're like, wait, I understand why I'm doing this and why I have to do this. And maybe the first time you were crying and it just ruined your whole week. And now it sucks for 2 hours and you're ready to move on. I mean, that's just kind of being a business owner. You have to have, there are difficult decisions that you're going to have to make. Doesn't make them easy, but learning how to compartmentalize that and understand that it needs to be done is the mark of, I think, a healthy business owner. It's not enjoyable. It's not fun. But and the other thing that's really interesting, I've been really working on, and I don't know if you've thought about this at all, but is making the decision quickly, not letting them leach.
I have let things drag out longer than they should have in hopes that things would turn around.
Because you're a dove.
And I just needed to just nip it in the bud way earlier.
Yeah, I'm the same way. That's an interesting psychological, when you hire someone and then you believe in them, you want the best for them.
And then you develop a relationship with that person.
They're your friend. Too. Now all of a sudden, it's 6 months and they're still acting like they've been here for 2 weeks. That's, at least in my field, that's how it is. So for my field, it's, hey, you're still asking the same questions you asked 4 months ago. And I've given you the training. I've given you the answers. At some point, you're going to need to graduate to initiative taking. And at some point, you're going to need to be remembering these answers. You can't ask me the same question for a year. And so seeing those signs early. And so what's happened is people have leached and been in the organization for probably a year longer than they should have been for their happiness and my happiness.
Yeah.
And that's a hard pill to swallow. And it's scary because then you're wondering, okay, well, what if this person can make it? What if this person can turn it around? Us dubs that's a struggle point.
And I've had a couple of instances where you don't realize how bad the situation was until you're removed from it. Like you knew it was crappy, moving toward crappy, but you really couldn't see the full picture until it was over.
Yeah. Yep.
And that applies to like all types of relationships.
Yeah.
Not just business relationships, interpersonal relationships.
Sure.
Like sometimes you have to take a step back. Like
gives you that extra perspective.
You have to teach yourself how to take a step back, actually removed from it, because you'll see it a lot clearer.
That's a good mental practice to do, especially for business owners. If they're thinking about fire somebody, imagine what it's like with them not around. And if it's like, oh, well, the company's probably going to thrive, well, then maybe that's the right decision. And vice versa. Like it could actually mean. And sometimes it could be that the owner needs to look into their heart and their life. And the reason that this is what I was talking with Mike about, what he sees 90% of the time is the reason why staff isn't succeeding is because the person in charge of this division sucks and they're not actually communicating what's needed to be done. So you have all of these actual able-bodied, willing people.
So it's not that person's not the problem; it's the person above them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's a good. So for people that maybe you're mad at your manager, but maybe people are mad at you for not doing the same thing. So it's just a good heart check. It's a good mental exercise to be like, am I communicating everything to my staff?
And I know that that's an area I could still improve on.
Yeah. Well, we always can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, thankfully right now, the staff I have, I feel like if something does need to be discussed, I can go to any of them and have a straightforward conversation.
That's amazing. The culture you've built is sweet. And it's great. I know most of the staff. I mean, just because of you being my client.
Yeah.
And they're all great. Great people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, I wanted to create, I've worked in office settings or restaurants where it's like majority women. They're brutal. It can be so brutal.
I live with one, and one's enough.
The cattiness and the backstabbing and the talking behind each other's backs. And it's not a healthy environment. It can be very toxic. And I'm not saying all women are that way.
No, you're good.
But it's just what I've experienced along the way. So the staff that I have now, we don't have that.
Yeah.
We don't have any of that. And that's what I wanted, was to create a workspace where I felt comfortable. It felt like home. I didn't want that workspace that felt like, God, is it 5 o'clock yet? Never once have I been like, I can't wait to get away from these people. What time is it? Never, not once. And that's what I've always wanted out of a workspace.
It's almost like what you're saying to a degree is when someone's looking to hire someone, you need to start with the person. Like start with who they are, start with the person. They could have all the qualifications for a job, but if they're not going to fit in the culture of the company, there's no point to make that hire because you're asking for problems.
Yeah. Part of getting a massage or part of getting a position with me is you have to do an actual sit-down interview with me, and then you have to do a hands-on interview. I want to see where your skill level is. And there's a lot of debate on these discussion boards when you're just trying to get free massages. No, I want to make sure that their skill level is going to fit the clientele that I have built for myself. So, and I don't require a lot, minimum half hour. I just want to gauge where you're at. I've had some bomb massages, like amazing massages in these interviews. And I've purposely not hired people because I knew there was going to be personality conflict with somebody else's personality on staff.
Yep.
And it's not like, oh, that person on staff is the problem. No, that person gets along with everybody here.
Correct.
I don't think you two are going to gel, and we don't need tension here.
Yep. And and that's a legitimate. When people are applying, they forget that they're being hired for their whole self and who you
all the
are.
gears have to fit together.
Correct.
All of them.
It's not just, and sometimes people get butt hurt, like, oh, you didn't hire me because of you're already getting mad that I didn't hire you. You're literally proving my point on why I didn't hire you to begin with. And I think in a world that is so easily offended, that's a good reminder. Is like, hey, like people that are looking for jobs.
You're not owed anything.
You're not owed anything. And if you don't want to be looking for jobs, then feel free to start a business. I'm warning you.
It's not easy.
It's not.
It took me over a decade to get where I'm at.